As global payments continue to evolve, Visa is positioning itself at the intersection of two transformative trends: artificial intelligence and stablecoins. The payments company is exploring how the emerging technologies can make commerce faster and more secure. And CNA's Elizabeth Neo is at the FinTech Festival with more.
Thanks for that, Copy. Now, these technologies, they are key for Asia Pacific, where digital adoption is accelerating. And to find out what this means for businesses and consumers, I'm joined by T R Ramachandran. He is head of products and solutions at Asia Pacific for Visa. Ram, thanks for your time today. So this is really an exciting time for fintech, the fintech space, with so many key technologies emerging as we've seen. And Visa is very active in, of course, the digital payment space. You've made your foray into agentic payments as well. You've announced collaborations with names like Grab and Tencent. And so how does this align with Visa's broader strategy in APAC?
First of all, glad to be here and thank you for having me on your show. Agentic commerce, we are seeing a proliferation of trends, interestingly, not only in the US, but increasingly in countries outside the US. 90% of ChatGPT users are actually outside the US today, which means this is a global trend and global phenomenon. And Asia Pacific always has been ground zero for innovation in payments over the last decade. And we see agentic commerce no differently than what has happened in the earlier trends. What we're really focused upon is working with key partners to launch our program of services, what we call Visa Intelligent Commerce. But we have to do it through the range of partners that we have, hence the announcements that we did working through players who are very, very important in the local AP ecosystem.
Yeah, so agentic payments, it is a new frontier. It is still a relatively new technology within the AI space, but there is great promise, because I think there was an estimate by McKinsey that agentic commerce could actually hit $5 trillion globally by 2030. And I was wondering how Visa envisions these AI agents kind of changing the payment experience for both sides of a transaction, the merchant and the consumer.
Absolutely, that's a great question. Because agents are going to be a new ecosystem participant. Earlier there was banks, consumers, and merchants where consumers shop. Now agents are this new middlemen in this ecosystem, and if customers trust agents with their credentials, and think of the agent as a on-demand concierge for the customer to do her shopping, groceries, travel bookings, etc. That's already happening. There's been a 4,700% increase in search trends. But today, it is not culminating in payments. And we want to go the last mile and make payments embedded into the agentic experience, of course, with the same trust and the same sort of security protocols that you would do using your card today.
Yeah, right. So that is a key part of it, the security, the trust, because, the whole issue about data privacy, dispute resolution even, right, when the agent makes the payment, the transaction for you. And so how is Visa preparing for this new layer of complexity, dealing with this middle person now, this AI agent, and also this coming, as we were just talking about before this interview, that fraudsters are also getting more sophisticated and they're using agentic AI as well in scams and frauds.
So 2-3 very, very important aspects to it. We can't do convenience at the risk of breaching security or trust or dispute resolution. First thing is we tokenize the credentials which the customer puts into the agent, so that even if the credentials falls into a fraudster's hand, it's useless. That token is linked to only that domain. Number two, we authenticate each transaction using Face ID or using device recognition, etc. So you know you are you, and you've already authorized the purchase. Third, we have to make sure that the agent shops for what the customer wants the agents to shop. And so that's the very important concept of payment signals. So when the information goes back to the bank, it doesn't only say that you have shopped at Uniqlo, but it says you have shopped for Uniqlo, size 8, white socks. So you know exactly what the sort of payment signals are, which helps the bank make the transaction to the merchant on the customer's behalf in an absolutely secure fashion. And this we do with an overarching sort of umbrella of customer convenience and ubiquity, because customers are going to use this more and more. This is going to become embedded into the agentic shopping experience, will also become the agentic payments experience.
So this is indeed an exciting space. It is, of course, a fast-developing space. Another thing that we've seen quite a lot this year is the talk about stablecoins, especially with the U.S. Genius Act. And I was wondering how, Visa views the role of stablecoins in payment systems in Asia Pacific. I mean, it recently announced that, it was allowing businesses to fund international payments using stablecoins.
We see, firstly, the enabling legislation which the Genius Act gave in the US. And by the way, countries like Singapore, countries like Hong Kong already have legislation, with many more Asia-Pacific countries now on the cusp of legislation. Now, once that happens, you're reasonably sure that the stablecoin is backed by underlying fiat, and therefore it has intrinsic value. Once that is established, there are plenty of use cases for stablecoins to transact. For example, in the cross-border money movement context, stablecoins can move 24/7, 365. No question of bank holidays or after 9 p.m., no transactions, etc. That helps save liquidity, that helps reduce operational cost. The Web3 era, of which stablecoin is a predominant participant, also introduces the era of money as software and programmable money and contracts on chain. I will pay you this if this is fulfilled. And so programmable money, reducing liquidity constraints, improving operational efficiency, and converting stablecoin to fiat where it is appropriate, particularly in cross-border trade, are very, very exciting use cases. And there are a lot of people, including folks here, who are sort of solving for it. We are excited to partner with them. We just announced our partnership with Neum to pre-fund stablecoin. Plenty more announcements coming up in that space.
Yeah, and with that, when people can just do things, 365 anytime, it kind of reduces the need for local cash accounts or impact the operations of local banks, like sort of physical banks. And so, where does or how does Visa view this in terms of its role in the whole payments ecosystem? I mean, with basically stablecoins competing with your traditional banks. How does that work together? Or
so today, I mean, Visa settles in over 110 currencies across the world, and this is another means of settlement. Many bank customers, many fintech customers actually want us to settle in stablecoin because it's more sort of programmable, it is instantaneous. Our role we also see as converting stablecoin into fiat. Because even if you have stablecoin stored, you need to spend it somewhere, and that's where the Visa network also comes into effect in terms of converting stable to fiat. Use cases will proliferate, but we have to do that in a thoughtful manner, conforming to the local regulations in a way that protects banks as well as the customers who use the underlying stablecoins.
All right, Ram, it's really good talking to you. Appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us at CNA.
Lovely to talk to you.
That was T R Ramachandran. He's head of products and solutions for Asia Pacific at Visa. And of course, the conversations continue right here at the Singapore FinTech Festival 2025. We've got Richard Ting, CEO of Binance, next for more on how stablecoins and tokenization could shape the future of crypto. For now, back to you, Kok Eng.
Thanks, Liz. That was CNA's Elizabeth Neo, live from the Singapore FinTech Festival.